I will be going through 3 tips that have helped me to manage and reduce my anxiety over the years. Now that I know what works for me, I want to share that with you and help you. Now, experiencing anxiety is normal, and usually you get these emotions and feelings of worry and fear, which is a response to things like stress or dangers that are going to happen potentially in the future. So these are emotions of being worried, becoming nervous, becoming fearful of situations and outcomes or potential dangers, like I've just mentioned, that can take place in the future. But these are uncertain events, so we don't know for definite that this is going to play out the way that we think in our minds, that when we have a potential worry about them. Now, I've just mentioned that anxiety is normal, and there are times that you will experience anxiety, and that's okay. But what's not okay is when it becomes overwhelming, when it's actually taking over you and it's impacting your day-to-day life. Then the anxiety is not normal at all. It's not good for you either. Now, I want to just go through these 3 tips that have helped me to cope with and manage my anxiety levels, and I'll give you some techniques along the way as well. Now, tip number 1 is support. Friends and family are so important for your support system. So having trusted friends, trusted family members that you can confide in, that you can share your feelings with, reduces your anxiety levels. It helps you to share your concerns, share your worries, whatever is on your mind, around people that you can trust, that will be supportive of you. And so once you take that information, that worry out of your mind, it just helps you to discuss that openly with your friends or family. And having that support system around you is really important. And so just talking through what you're anxious about, what worry or what is it that's making you feel nervous, then helps you to also to make sure that you don't feel isolated, because when you are isolated, your anxiety levels go up even more. So it does help reduce being isolated and reduces your stress levels overall. Now, another tip for getting support is to seek professional help. So that's through a doctor, and you can be referred to a therapist, so you can go to counselling, and that is to do CBT, and that stands for cognitive behavioural therapy, which is a very good technique for anxiety, type of therapy for anxiety, to recognise, acknowledge, managing techniques to identify what these stresses are for anxiety and how to reduce them. That is really helpful to do. The other thing that may be helpful is something that I haven't tried, is seeking help from a doctor and speaking to them if it is beneficial to you, maybe to take anti-anxiety medication, but that's something that you would need to talk directly and personally with your own doctor about. Now, tip number 2 is lifestyle changes. So there's been quite a number of lifestyle changes that I have made over the years. It's took me time, but with practice I've been able to do some of these things that I'm going to share with you. Now, out of those lifestyle changes, I'll start off with sleep hygiene. Now, sleep hygiene is where you are getting regular sleep, you are getting enough sleep, and it's where I've had to build in a routine where I make sure that I have a time where I know I'm going to wind down, and before I wind down to go to sleep, in that routine, which I'm going to keep consistent, and I have been able to keep it consistent, is getting ready, having a pre-sleep routine, and trying to make sure to stay away from the phone, and so that I am in this mindset to get ready and go to sleep, and I have the alarm on for the morning of what time I want to get up. And I have noticed that over the years that 7 hours or 8 hours of sleep is more than enough for me. If I am sleeping less than 7 hours, I do tend to get more anxious in the day, and I've found that very important, that having a sleep hygiene, having a sleeping routine has been really helpful. Now, another lifestyle change that I have made is just changing my nutrition, is not eating too many takeaways, eating more vegetables, eating more salads with my food, whole meal foods, whole grains, eating stuff like grilled chicken, grilled salmon, incorporating a lot of good home cooked meals into my diet has really helped me to feel better in myself. And when you feel better in yourself and you've got more energy, that does reduce your anxiety. Other things that I've had to change within my nutrition is to avoid caffeine after a certain amount of time, and that's normally after about 2 o'clock. I try to make sure that I don't have any more caffeine, because I know then it will impact me, because the caffeine does stay in my system and I won't go to bed on time. And then if I go to bed later, I will then be having less sleep, even though I know I've got to get up very early in the morning again. So then it becomes a vicious cycle. Other things I would also suggest as well is to not have so many sugary types of foods in your diet, because it gives you a crash then. It gives you sugar level crashes, and that's not what you want. When you are anxious already, you want to reduce any possible factors so that you are feeling a lot more calmer and happier. Journaling has been a really good technique for me to write my thoughts down, to write down those negative thoughts that are in my mind, get it on a piece of paper, and then I can see on there how I can see the actual perspective then of how I'm feeling, and if there are any thought patterns, are there any patterns that keep coming up, so I can identify them and try and address them to see how I can manage things better. Now, exercise has always been a lifesaver for me. I make sure that I have a routine where I am exercising 3 to 5 times a week, and what that does is releases my endorphins, my chemicals. So endorphins are chemicals that are released from your body. Those are happy chemicals, and also it reduces your stress, your anxiety, it lifts up your mood, which is really, really good for you. And I know that when I exercise, I feel so much more better, and I do much better, and it really helps with my anxiety, especially when you're in stressful situations, you've got a stressful day ahead. And so you have to understand that when it's fine that you will have stressful situations, however, you also need to find a way to counteract that. What are you going to do to reduce that stress, reduce that anxiety? And exercise has been one of the biggest life changes for me, that has helped me to release those endorphins and happy chemicals, to balance me out, to make sure that I am more relaxed and I am in a better mood. Now, another great tip that I will give you that I've changed in my lifestyle is to just manage time overall. There are times where we just keep going in the day, and I do this all the time, where I have a great routine and then I start to add more and more things in there, and that's when it becomes really overwhelming. Then I get even more stressed out, then I get even more anxious. So what I've started to do is to block out time, to have a clear-cut time management plan for myself. And it doesn't need to be completely rigid. Do make sure you block out time where you aren't doing anything. It doesn't need to be jam-packed, but at least then when I have a time management plan, is on my calendar, I can block out time, what I am doing, when I am doing those things. Then I'm not thinking and worrying about all the other things that I've got to do, and it doesn't take over my day. It doesn't control me, because I have made a clear-cut plan. If it doesn't fit in your day, then it's something that you've got to really look at. Is when you do have more time, then you can do additional things. So try and manage that and prioritize your tasks, what needs to be done and what doesn't need to be done. That's whether that's in your professional life or in your day-to-day, in your personal life as well. I would use that and apply it, because it really does help you to be calm, and you are able to think more clearly, because you'll be less overwhelmed. Now, tip number 3 is self-care and relaxation. Having a hot bath or a hot shower is really, really good for you. It's really good. That helps you, especially when you are anxious. If you have a hot bath or a shower, that relaxes your muscles, it reduces your anxiety levels because you're focused and you're distracted because you've got to focus on the sensations on your body of the water that's on you. And once you come out after having a bath or a shower, your muscles are so relaxed, your anxiety levels have reduced or completely gone. It's happened to me many times where I feel very anxious, and once I've had a shower I feel so much calmer. I feel a lot calmer, the anxiety's reduced or it's completely gone. And that's the state you want to be in. You want to be happy, you want to be relaxed and not be feeling tense, because that's what anxiety does. Anxiety does make your muscles feel very tense, and being tense or having your muscles tense for a long period of time is not good for you. Now, it's really important that you have some form of self-care activities for yourself, because that will reduce your anxiety levels and lift your mood up. Now, I'll start off with one of the things that I class as a self-care for myself is reading a book. Now, you can read a non-fiction book or a fiction book. For myself, I like to read self-development books. They really make me happy, they uplift my mood, they get me motivated, and then that gets me out of the anxiety, the worry and the fears that I have, because I'm reading information that's going to help me grow. Another type of self-care activity I can suggest to you is to perhaps, if you enjoy doing cooking, whether it's knitting or painting, it's something that you can focus on that makes you happy. That's what you want to focus on, is what makes you happy. And so any hobby that you know that will make you happy, allocate some time, whether that's weekly or every couple of days or each time you are feeling anxious, is to focus on that hobby that makes you feel good. And that's what counteracts with your anxiety, to reduce it, to make you feel much calmer, and it will also distract you as well. For me, I like to do painting with my children, and my children are quite young, so they love painting. They like to get into the ideas of what they want to paint, and we all just sit there and really enjoy that moment where we're focused. I'm distracted as well. I'm really fully in the moment, present, and just being creative. And that's what makes me focus and be distracted, and reduces my anxiety. And at the end of it, I'm no longer anxious. So it really is a really good technique to have a hobby that you can focus on. I know I've just briefly mentioned this not long ago in my lifestyle change tip about exercise. And so for self-care specifically, walking in nature is really good for you. There are times where I just don't want to exercise, and I'll just go for a walk in the nature and having that fresh air. Sometimes I'll even listen to music, and that just makes me feel so much better in myself. And again, you are still releasing those happy chemicals of the endorphins, and you just come back feeling more relaxed, more calm, and just you can carry on with the day. It's just that you just need that little bit of time to have a break from overthinking, you know, those day-to-day responsibilities where the overthinking's overstimulating you and making you feel more anxious. And once you're having a break from your day-to-day and just going for a walk, whether that's 20 minutes, half an hour, an hour's walk, just getting out there clears your mind, and you just come back a lot calmer with more clarity. Now, having a skincare routine has been really helpful for me, because it brings me back to the present moment where I am taking care of myself, and I'm focusing on the here and now, the present moment, and the actual act of taking care of myself physically then helps me, where I'm having feelings of calmness, I'm feeling relaxed, I'm feeling a lot better about myself because I've done that physical act itself of a self-care routine. And so after that, I feel so much better. And so it's really helpful for me, especially when I am having a stressful day, or I've had a stressful day and I have a week where I have been anxious. Just practicing and doing that self-care routine is really helpful and makes you feel better afterwards. At the start, it's not always been the case for me. I've not always felt good, but I've always push myself to try and keep that routine going, so that by the end of it, once I've done my routine, I definitely and always feel much better. So I highly recommend that you do that. Meditation has been something that I've actually recently been practicing. That's just sitting there and just focusing on my breathing, focusing on my heartbeat, my body, my surroundings. I will sit down for 5 minutes and I will put this music on in the background, which is a calming music. I just search on YouTube calm music, and normally it's something tranquil, or it's a waterfall, some sort of calm music in the background. I'll put it on, and for 5 minutes I will practice meditation, and it focuses on the present moment for me. I stay in the present moment. I'm not thinking about what I have done and what I need to do. I try my best to just focus on my sensations, my body, my feelings as in how am I feeling right now, and try and focus on the positive elements of it. And so meditation has been really positive for me, very helpful for me to feel calm, to not be stressed, and just focusing, being in the moment is very, very helpful in counteracting any anxious feeling that I have. Please do let me know in the comments which tips and which techniques have really helped you with your anxiety levels. If you liked my video, please press the like button and hit subscribe for more videos like this.